Namaskar viewers, this is our initiative to reach out to the larger audience in the entire Northeast. So probably from today we will give some explainers or some news in English as well. At this point in time, viewers, the topic which is hitting the headlines not in the Northeast but in the entire country is coming from Manipur. Yes, you have heard it right. Manipur will have president's rule. That is what our sources are saying in Manipur, because that is inevitable and no other option is left in Manipur for the BJP. To explain the entire situation or entire context, I'll have to go back to some days or go back to a couple of months. Manipur CM N. Biren Singh has resigned from his post on Sunday. He flew to Delhi. He had a meeting with top BJP leadership. He came back to Imphal in a charter flight. Straight away from the airport, he had visited the governor in Raj Bhavan and he tendered his resignation. Now, center, ruled by BJP, was unwilling to impose president's rule because in the entire process of their political journey, at least from 2014, BJP was blaming Congress for president's rule. And now, BJP wanted a new face for Manipur. They wanted a new face for Manipur. If not N. Biren Singh, there will be a new chief minister, as BJP thought out for Manipur, but that didn't work out. They had a marathon meeting today under the aegis of Sambit Patra in Imphal. They tried hard to find a chief minister for the new chief minister for the state of Manipur who can successfully replace N. Biren Singh, but that didn't work out. Some names cropped up. For example, Y. Khemchand Singh, who happened to be a minister in Biren Singh's cabinet, was a strong contender. T.H. Basant Singh, who is also a minister, also was a strong contender. There are other three names. They were Thokchom Radhesyam Singh, Thokchom Satyabrata Singh and Thongal Biswajit Singh. But the BJP in Manipur could not reach out to a consensus on a name. And mind it, N. Biren Singh tendered his resignation and his resignation was accepted by the newly appointed governor of Manipur. In such time, next day was the assembly session. That was on Monday, yesterday. And Congress, 5 MLAs of Congress were sharpening their guns to bring no confidence motion in the floor of the House. Congress was planning to bring no confidence motion in the floor of the House, and N. Biren Singh, he knew it very much, he can't prove majority in the House because even some BJP MLAs, at least 10 BJP MLAs were up the ante against the chief minister. They said publicly, they declared publicly, as and when there will be assembly sessions, they will sit in the opposition. 7 Kuki MLAs, they were absent from the assembly since last 21 months. Since the conflict broke out in 3rd May 2023, these MLAs were not present, they were not seen in Imphal Valley. Forget about the assembly. They will not be able to support N. Biren Singh if the question of no confidence motion arises in the floor of the House. So he knew it, he will be defeated. So he was left with the only option of resigning from his post. He resigned, he tendered this resignation, then BJP tried to find a new face. BJP could not find a new face. At the same time, if at all assembly session starts, N. Biren Singh will have to prove his majority. As many believes he is not in a position to prove his majority, he is left with its only option, that is resignation. And now the center, ruled by BJP, even if they are not willing to impose president rule, they do not have any other option other than imposing president rule. Now, as we are told by our sources in Manipur, the governor, who was once the Home Secretary, Union Home Secretary, Ajay Bhalla, he had already prepared a report which will go to the President's office, President of India's office. If the President of India is convinced from the report of the Governor, if the President of India is convinced that the constitutional machinery in Manipur is not working or has failed, then President at no point, at no time, like by the night or by tomorrow morning, can impose President rule through the power which has been conferred to her by the Constitution of India under Article 356. Under Article 256, President can impose President's rule or rule directly by the central government in any part of the country, given the fact that Governor has to file a report to the President. If the President is convinced by the Governor's report, then President can, through a Gazette notification, proclaim the emergency. But within the 2 months of President's proclamation, both houses of the Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, will have to approve President's proclamation, and after the approval of both houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, the President's rule can be extended up to 6 months. And after 6 months, this can be extended to another 6 months, and it can go as long as 3 years. That is the rule. And if I give you some data about President's rule, India has seen President's rule many times. Since the Constitution was in effect from 26 January 1950, there were President's rule in the country for 134 times in 29 states and union territories. In Manipur, President's rule is not new. Manipur had President's rule for 10 times. Uttar Pradesh at the same time also faced President rule, or central government imposed President's rule in Uttar Pradesh equally 10 times in different time zones. And in Manipur also, in different time zones, 10 President's rule were imposed or clamped by the center. And do you know which state has the experience of President's rule for the longest time? No marks for guessing. It is Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir had President's rule for long 12 years in different time zones. Second in this category is Punjab. As you know, Kashmir and Punjab has had internal turmoil, insurgency, terrorism in different time zones. So, like Kashmir, Punjab also had President's rule for 10 years in different time zones. If we talk about Assam, our own state, Assam also faced President rule during 19th when Alpha movement was at peak. So, we or many of you who had passed through those days in the 90s, early 90s, we realized the nightmares of President's rule. Those who passed through the 90s, early 90s, they had seen the army operations. They had seen the massacre committed by the insurgent groups. They had seen Bajrang, they had seen Rhino, etc., etc. But the context of Manipur is different. If I go back to 21 months, if I go back to 3rd May 2023, that was the day, that was the black day in the history of Manipur, in the recent history of Manipur, when this communal riot broke up. This communal riot started. This where two ethnic groups from Manipur, they were up against each other. 270 people died, many were rendered homeless, many had to, even today, many have to stay or live in temporary shelter. So, Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, when everyone, like every political party or many from different political fronts were demanding his resignation, he didn't tender his resignation then. But now, after 21 months, when 270 people died, thousands are rendered homeless, living in temporary shelter, and Biren Singh tendered his resignation. Now, the pertinent question is, will his resignation bring peace in Manipur? Will a President's rule bring peace in Manipur? People say, experts say, President's rule cannot bring peace in Manipur. Rather, there should be a political move to create a milieu, to create an atmosphere whereby two sides, leaders of these two communities, namely Meiteis and Kukis, can sit across the table, negotiate, and bring out a peace formula. I am talking about peace formula. Having said peace formula, this newly appointed governor of Manipur, who, as I said, happened to be once Union Home Secretary of Government of India, he came out with a peace formula, 5 points peace formula. Number one point is there should not be any disintegration of Manipur. Geographically, Manipur, as we see today, should be united. But on the contrary, cookies are demanding a separate administrative unit for them from the state of Manipur. Meiteis are vehemently opposing it. This is first peace formula. He wanted Manipur to remain intact as it is today. Second is illegal infiltration from across the border, in this case from Myanmar, should be stopped at any cost, and those who have already spilled over should be detected and deported in time-bound manner. This is the second point in peace formula. Third is we should stop, Manipur should stop, or the government for that matter should stop the drug trail which is spreading like wildfire in every parts of Manipur. Fourth is stop the narco-terrorism. Stop the narco-terrorism. These are some of the pointers forwarded by or these pointers have been cropping up in Manipur, and these pointers are brainchild of the governor, of the present governor. So this is what is happening. If I talk about President's rule can be imposed by the President of India. She has, or whosoever is the President, he or she has been given this power to impose President rule in any parts of India by the Article 356 of the Constitution. But at the same time, this article or the act of the President of imposing President's rule by virtue of 356 can be judicially reviewed in the Supreme Court of India. SR Boumai case, as you remember SR Boumai case, in SR Boumai case, 13 judges constitutional bench gave a judgment through which this step of the President of imposing President's rule by virtue of 356 can be judicially reviewed. Mind it, his or her, whosoever is the President, steps cannot be reviewed, but the material by virtue of which this President rule is imposed can be judicially reviewed, whether those materials are sufficient enough to implement a President rule or not. That can be reviewed. So after imposition of President rule, there is a chance that this can go to the Supreme Court of India, because many cases pertaining to Manipur are being heard by the Supreme Court of India. As I said, Manipur Chief Minister had tendered his resignation on a time such that he should not face this trust motion in the floor of the House. At the same time, a case is also going on in the Supreme Court, is being heard in the Supreme Court regarding a leak of an audio tape where he was allegedly found to be instigating the conflict which we have seen for last 21 months in Manipur. The Supreme Court has ordered that audio tape to be sent to Central Forensic Laboratory Hyderabad. Central Forensic Laboratory Hyderabad will ascertain whether that voice belongs to N. Biren Singh or not. When that news will come, when that will become public, we will come up with another explainer again. But right now, N. Biren Singh is visibly seen or apparently seen in coup, which is why he had to tender his resignation. But at the same time, BJP has failed to find a new face to replace N. Biren Singh as of now. So our sources in Manipur are saying that only President rule is the way out at this point in time. In a way, President rule is inevitable in the state of Manipur. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is our initiative to reach out to larger audience in the Northeast, so that we can cater to their aspiration as well. So in the coming days, we will try to come up with more stories, more news across from Northeast in English language. Join us, visit us through our channel, through our YouTube channel and through our Facebook page. We will urge you to comment on our explainers, on our news, on anything which we produce digitally in YouTube, Facebook and other platforms. For news across the country, across the globe, or across entire Northeast, please keep watching News18 Assam Northeast. Good night.